Do you really believe money makes you happy? Why? Story 1. 100%. Everything in my life that causes me anxiety, depression, gives me worry, etc. can be fixed with money. Money also enables you to do the things that do make you happy, or discover things that make you happy, happier. Also, another popular quote is, money can't buy happiness. It 1000% can and does. Story 2. Money itself doesn't guarantee happiness, but it provides access to resources, opportunities, and security that can contribute to a sense of well-being. For instance, security, it helps cover our basic needs like food, shelter, and healthcare, reducing stress and anxiety. Also, freedom. It offers us choices like pursuing passions, traveling, or simply not being stuck in a job you hate. However, happiness often comes from intangible things like purpose, connection, and personal growth. Money is more like a tool. It's how you use it that matters. Story 3. Not entirely happy, but it sure takes a lot of stress off. Being able to afford basic needs and little joys can make life easier, but complete happiness is a different kind of ballgame. A lot of things are involved: meaningful connections, wonderful experiences, and lots more. Story 4. I do it for the ultra-rich in LA. And from my experience of what I've seen, money gives you all the options and opportunities to be happy. But if someone fundamentally isn't happy or isn't settled, no amount of money will make them happy. It's easy to be happier, of course, when you don't have to worry about any financial issues with anything. But I've seen some miserable millionaires and billionaires who are just unhappy and unkind people. Story 5. I don't think money makes me happy. In fact, I was even happier when I didn't have any money than now that I'm better off financially. Although the responsibilities and problems have increased compared to when I didn't have money, but I do think that in some aspects it keeps me emotionally stable and I feel in good harmony. Story 6. Money buys you time and freedom, which allows you to do what you want and need. You'll have time to pursue hobbies, arts, sports, leisure, the means to pay for it. It'll allow you to provide for your family and friends, which, if you know what you're doing, at least to a degree, buys you love, adoration, and social acceptance. You need to be smart about it, but it definitely makes you happy. Story 7. I do not think money makes you happy, but it can make life easier, which relieves stress. For instance, not stressing over bills or groceries and being able to do things you want to do. That part can make you happy, happier. Story 8. Of course, LOL. Absolutely delusional not to believe so. If you live in modern society and you have an excess of the agreed medium of exchange, money, you can afford immaterial yet expensive things like feeling secure / calm / relaxed, which are necessary preconditions for happiness. Story 9. Yes, my stress is about bills, mortgage, car breaking down, on top of working constantly and never being able to afford to stop. Money would literally solve all my problems, take away all my stress, and allow me to move to a better place and do what I've always wanted to. That absolutely would make me happy every damn day. Story 10. I grew up poor and now I'm not. It's very hard to be sad for long. Last month I got bored and went to Amelia Island for 2 weeks. Ate well, stayed in luxury, got some tan, bought new clothes. I'm back at my main home now. Homesick for my third home and fifth home. I think tomorrow I'll change homes and change my view, neighbors, and favorite grocery store for a few weeks. Hard to be sad living like this. Story 11. There's empirical evidence to support money leading to happiness to an extent. It's that it relieves anxieties when you have enough money that you don't have to worry about bills, medical expenses, rent, food, etc. Once you hit this threshold, which is around $100K annually, anything beyond this will not lead you to happiness. The phrase "money doesn't buy happiness" more so means that the endless pursuit of more will not lead to fulfillment. Story 12. Whenever I watch Real Housewife-type shows, these people have heaps and loads of dough. Then they get together, yell at each other, cry, and carry on. They appear to be miserable. I will never have that level of unlimited wealth, but I believe I could handle it better than the housewives. I'm almost 100% positive, just can't confirm. Story 13. Yes, not because it is a source, but the means. True happiness comes from personal purpose. And to achieve purpose, you need to have the right circumstances to keep you straight on that path. And while money won't cause this, it is a tool to achieve this in multiple ways. First and foremost, it allows you to cover your basic needs. You can't chase your purpose without your basic survival needs met. Second of all, it gives you the opportunity to go for that which you desire in every shape and form. Want to look good? You can pay for a diet, gym, etc. Want to start a business, a family? It is a starting point that makes it easy for anyone to solely focus on their purpose. Lastly, it allows you to cover for holes and weaknesses in your path for purpose. Want to be a musician? You have talent, but you are unattractive? Plastic surgery. You want to be a politician, but you have a speech impediment, you can pay experts to help you overcome your limitations. Money is the modern definition of freedom, which makes it a paradox. That's why almost nobody feels truly free. Story 14. No. Only because humans can only have a certain amount of happiness until it becomes normal to them. Hence why rich people just want to get more rich. They lose the ability to become excited over things that only rich people experience when it becomes their norm. Obviously, being financially stable is beneficial to mental health, but you really only know what you have when you lose it. Story 15. Yes, absolutely. I'm 36 now, and I'm finally at a point in my life where I have money. I'm not crazy rich, but I have a good job with a good income. I've managed to buy and sell houses at the right time and work my way up the property ladder. My husband makes a similar income to me and has also made some good property investments. We are in the process of building our dream house right now, and we will be mortgage-free. Up until a few years ago, I was always struggling with money. I always had bills to pay. I had to be careful with my spending. I had to plan everything in advance to make sure I'd have enough money for petrol and extra things that might come up. I had to check my bank account before a purchase because a bill might have come out and drained it. I don't have to do any of that anymore. If I want something within reason, I simply buy it and enjoy it. If I want to go to dinner or a concert or have a night out, I just do those things. I don't have to create an Excel spreadsheet to figure out how I'm going to afford it or sell half my belongings on Facebook Marketplace. I can just live. I can enjoy life. Story 16. Lack of money is typically the most common source for my stressors in life. So having more money would definitely allow me to be happier. So I wouldn't say that money itself makes me happy, but lack of it can definitely limit how happy I can be. The happiest times in my life was when I was making more money than I was spending. Story 17. It 100% does. If you have everything else, good marriage, kids, health, etc., if you want those things, then yes, money makes it all easier, less stress, more fun, gives more freedom and less restrictions, all which equals happier. Anyone that says otherwise is unhappy anyway and hasn't completed the other things in life. Story 18, I feel to a point, but there's an amount of money at which having more money basically makes no difference to you. It's confusing to me why anyone chooses to continue stockpiling money at that point. BC, literally, who is it for? Like, I'm talking about rich people who couldn't spend their salary on their own if they tried to. I truthfully cannot get into the heads of those people. Like, do you just hate other people? Story 19. Money removes problems and obstacles. For example, last year I was earning more than I knew what to do with, but not enough to move myself into the life that I want. Not enough to buy property where I want the lifestyle of. Today, I have an unsecured, uncertain future income that's about 2/3 of that. I'm well and truly comfortable and not struggling. And it's also not go and splurge money, but it's the uncertainty of it being there next month that is the cause of all the anxiety. If I knew 100% that I would have that income indefinitely for the rest of my life, and there was no concern with it being rug pulled, I'm certain I could be truly happy, as the anxiety wouldn't be there, and I do things without feeling like they're risks. However, this level of income also doesn't give me the ability to have the life I want on my doorstep. If I had enough money to buy property in the location I want and had this level of guaranteed income, I'd be content. At double this income, I can't see myself not being able to create a life where I'm happy. Story 20. I don't think just having money makes you happy, but having money gives you the opportunity to have fun. For example, Bill works 12-hour days 5 days a week as a laborer. He has 2 days off when he isn't taking overtime to help cover bills. When he's home, he is tired and has maybe an hour with his wife and kids before everyone goes to bed after work. Bill makes $50K a year, works his ass off, is tired, but this doesn't make him unhappy per se. Now let's compare to Charles, who works 8 hours a day, 4 days a week as a software engineer, with 1 day virtual at home. He has 2, 3 technically days off and does no overtime. When he is home, he has 4, 5 hours with his family after work. He makes around $150K a year, but this doesn't make him unhappy or happy. Finally, we have Greg, whose father is a multimillionaire and is shadowing his father to one day take over the business. While Greg may work hard, the hours are waverable as his father owns the business. He can take extensive breaks for vacations, owns nice cars, lives in a nice home, and has an overall good life. Looking at these 3 examples, one would assume that Bill is the least happy, followed by Charles, and finally Greg is the happiest. While Greg has more opportunities to do fun things and has the most downtime, it doesn't necessarily correlate. Most rational people would prefer the life of Greg, but that's after already living their current life. Appreciation for the money is what makes the money so fulfilling. If Bill won the lottery, he'd be on cloud 9. No stress, no piling bills or debt, family vacations, nice cars, etc. but it's because he appreciates his previous struggle and the newfound money. There's many things at play here, but I believe that appreciation for the money is big, but the opportunity for having downtime in a world where we are worked to the bone is the biggest. Story 21. Money brings happiness, and for those who disagree, it provides what they need to be happy. No one is truly happy while living with the worry of having enough money to eat, pay bills, afford medicine, or feed their children, pets, or even themselves. I emphasize this, and so on. Having money frees you from those worries and gives you the space to focus on and think about other aspects or things that can bring you joy. Money does bring happiness, and for those it doesn't, it provides the necessary freedom to pursue their own happiness. Story 22. There's an ongoing study that's been taking place since like 1930-ish. Can't remember exactly, but it's close to 90 years. It followed all sort of people from Harvard students to poor people. It followed them from generation to generation and grew as their families grew, etc. The number one factor to happiness and health was both the close relationships you form. Loneliness was a big detriment to both health and happiness. Far as money, those that were sad before coming into money mostly remained sad. Those that were happy before money mostly remained happy. It had very little impact overall. For each category of happiness, increase in money saw a small bump, but mostly leveled off based on their initial happiness level. I.e., sad folks got even more sad the more money they had, and happy folks got more happy the more money they had. Again, there was a small bump to each level, but overall the impact was minimal on happiness. Personal relationships, however, completely changed people's lives. Sad folks that found relationships turned happy, and happy folks that lost their relationships became sad. Money doesn't make you happy. The relationships you form with people make you happy. Story 23. Nonsense question. Here's one that makes the nonsense more clear. Do you really believe oxygen makes you happy? Why? The answer to both, if you're scientifically or mathematically inclined, is it's necessary but not sufficient. You're not going to be terribly happy while poor. You're also not going to be happy if the only thing you have is money. You need money and the other stuff, just like you need oxygen and the other stuff. Story 24. No, I come from money and it did nothing to shield the I had to go through. What's worse is it made me feel invalidated, as people assume because you have money that you should not have any issues. I often suffer in silence because people have it worse. You need enough to be comfortable, and not having enough money can surely make you unhappy. But having money doesn't magically lead to happiness. Story 25. Money doesn't make you happy, but it sure as hell helps with that rob you of happiness. Like if your car breaks down, you can rent a new one while it gets fixed, or you just buy a new one and sell the old one. Healthcare, you can pay for concierge service where doctors come to you except when there are big devices that don't travel well. On and on and on. Story 26. Short answer, no. I imagine it would be exponentially more comfortable to cry in a Bentley and wipe my tears with $100 bills as opposed to a cardboard box and a wish sandwich for dinner. Some people are so poor, all they have is money, or at least that's what I tell myself. Money won't save your soul if you believe in that such thing. Ultimately, it's up to you what makes you happy. There's nothing that's going to magically make you anything unless you want it and you put the effort into acquiring it. You get what you give, I suppose, just difficult to appreciate the process at times. But I'm broke, brother. I wouldn't listen to me. Story 27. I think absurd amounts of money can lead to a lack of appreciation after a while, which would lead to depression. After 1,000 martinis on a 100 private jet rides, eventually you get sick of it. I believe there would be a sweet spot, money that allows for a comfortable life, with the ability to appreciate spoils here and there and possibly still be required to work. Feeling like you have earned something is one of the best feelings money can't buy on its own. However, lack of money and poverty does indeed lead to depression and poor mental and overall health in most cases. Comfort is key. People have found ways to be comfortable with very little. Story 28. I found that I was happiest when I was broke, but had all my needs met. There was also less stress and working hours. Now I have much more money, but give most of my time to a career that I chose solely for the money. Truly depressing in my instance. Story 29. Because right now, money would help more than trying to survive on 1/3 of what is classified as the poverty line in the USA. The elation I'd feel to not worry about spending $6 on a damn pizza at Little Caesars during this football sale they got going on sounds like heaven. To not worry about running a heater for more than an hour during the winter so that I can save for the summer when temperatures are able to kill me. I ran over a screw last week in my car. That is a mandatory expenditure because I live 40 miles away from a hospital and school, and the thought of needing to buy a new tire made me vomit with anxiety. My energy bill is on a payment plan, and I'm $1,500 in debt on that alone. This is not sustainable. I need a hard reset or a 100% increase on my disability benefits to maintain poverty line. Story 30. Money itself won't make you happy. However, having enough money is a great insulator and will prevent undue worry, I stress, which isn't good for anybody. It can also provide you the time and freedom to do the things you really want to do instead of just doing what you have to do to get by. So yes, I do believe that money can definitely make you happier, especially if happiness is your goal. However, there are plenty of wealthy people who are miserable bastards just because that's who they are. Story 31. As a person who is forever stressed out and my body is falling apart and work my ass off and never getting anywhere, because every single time I catch up, something happens and I'm right in the hole again, which lands me in the hospital every couple years from the stress. Yeah, money makes me happy when my bills are paid, and I don't wake up feeling defeated and depressed every flippin' morning. Honestly, if I didn't have kids, I'd probably off myself. It's that bad. Just being honest. Story 32. Money doesn't make you happy in the sense that money literally correlates to happiness. However, money can make you happy in the sense that it can give you access to things that make you happy. For example, if someone is unhappy because work stresses them over, then getting a bunch of money can make them happy. However, if someone is unhappy because their whole family got murdered, money won't make them happy because money can't unmurder their family. Sure, they can afford therapy, but their family is still dead. Personally, I could win the lottery tomorrow, and I'll still be unhappy because the issues that make me unhappy can't be fixed with money. At least I'll be unhappy in my Lambo, though. Story 33. Makes me happy when I travel and buy what I want. I'm extremely comfortable. I don't even know how much my monthly bills cost. I buy things without looking at the price tags. On the other hand, for me to get paid this insanely good salary, I'm paying for it with my freedom. Work comes above all. They expect you to always be on call, cancel your medical appointments, skip funerals. They get to decide when you can take vacations to travel. You're not really in control of your own life. I have to constantly argue with my boss to take my leaves. After 7 years of working with them, I honestly don't think the salary is worth it. Story 34. Money gives you the mental freedom to not worry about so many things in life which rely solely on our ability to generate it and use it to continue to live in our society. Once you take that uncertainty away and a person begins to feel on solid ground, as is inevitable when you get a bunch of money, that creates a ton of space in your head to go off and do other instead of work or whatever. Those things can equal happiness. Story 35. Every single problem and concern I have would be fixed instantly if $50K landed in my lap. I love my spouse, my family, and my friends. I feel very supported and fulfilled by them. I enjoy my job mostly and feel invested in my career. I make a bit more than the average U.S. salary, but my area is expensive, and I have very expensive medical needs. Moving to a cheaper area without my type of doctor available would be foolish. I feel very happy without that additional money, but having a secure savings in case of anything popping up outside of budgeted material would be amazing. I can't pity rich people who feel unfulfilled. That's on you to find meaning in life by investing in your hobby, yourself, your community, or just affording a therapist to assist in self-help. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure as buys relief. Story 36, good question. Here's how it's worked for me. 48-year-old married father of 2 in the UK here. My wife and I have reached a phase in our lives where money isn't really a problem. We don't have Ferrari yacht money, but we can take our foot off the gas at work and coast into retirement money. This financial situation hasn't made me happy as such, but as sure as has removed most of my unhappiness, which feels an awful lot like happiness. Story 37. I believe that if you're already a generally happy person, building up money and watching it grow is rewarding, and you will remain happy while doing things with that money or simply enjoying its security. This is what my wife and I have achieved over the last 25 years. We like having it and look forward to doing things with it. But if you're a miserable, sad, or depressed person, money will probably not cure that. I know poor people who are positive and happy. I know wealthy people who are all ed up and miserable. Story 38. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of day vlogs of influencers and rich people, and a very sad thought came to my head. I wouldn't be happy anyway. See, we feel like that's the key, the solution to our problems, and that's the reason we're unhappy. However, I strongly believe that this is just a comfort thought to accept our unhappiness, simply saying, it's because I don't have the money. Otherwise, I would have all these accommodations, all these tools. Life would be easier. The reality is that would be totally normal for us to have, and the unfulfilled feeling would probably still be there. Yes, it would be a lot easier. Don't get me wrong. But personally, I think that empty feeling would be there regardless. Story 39. It depends on what I have to do to get the money. If it's a decrease in work-life balance, it would not make me happy. But I think I would be happier if it is good money, with an increased quality of life balance. Winning a decent lottery would likely make me happier, since I could do more things that make me happy and not waste away at a 9-5. But if I have increased money coming in but my life is so busy that I cannot find the time to do what I want, it likely would make the opposite of happy. Story 40. My dream is to travel at least once to every single meter of land on Earth. While it's impossible, infinite money will definitely get me damn near to that goal. Plus, money is why 99% we feel stressful about life. If you don't have to think about making money and have all luxury you can think of, then I don't think who is happier than you. Your spouse, kids, and family members won't even have a reason to be mad at you. Imagine living with a cheater, but she makes 10 times more money than Jeff Bezos and let you take as much as you want whenever you feel like so. Story 41. For someone who was born with a silver spoon in their mouth, money might not be significant, but for someone who's not, it can bring happiness. As a breadwinner who came from humble beginnings, it has been great to witness our ability to provide for ourselves in ways that make our lives more comfortable. Money does make you happy. There's no room for discrimination here, so let's admit that many of you share the same point of view as mine. Story 42. It's not the money itself, it's the access it grants. Good food makes me happy. Going to gaming conventions makes me happy. A really awesome and warm jacket makes me happy. A day spent skiing with my husband and our godchildren makes me happy. Knowing my husband and I have a safe, sound, lovely home to go to every day makes me happy. I mean it, not worrying about how I'm going to pay bills or repair my truck makes me extremely happy. We live in a society where I can only achieve that with money, so having money makes me feel secure, which translates to making me feel happy. Story 43, yes, our whole lives revolve around money. In a sociological view, people's whole personality can depend on the environment raised, and people who are poor and have less money, it causes stress, which in turn causes depression and stress, ECT. But not always. There's a lot of people who spend most of their lives working, and when they retire, they end up unhappy or unfulfilled since they don't spend enough time with their family. Story 44. The secret to happiness is both the easiest thing in the world and the hardest thing in the world. You just have to decide to be happy, that's it. But as everyone knows, that is really hard to do. But if you can't buy food or pay rent or whatever, it's really hard to convince yourself to be happy. But plenty of people who don't have much money are happy because they just look at the good things they do have and are grateful. Doesn't mean money wouldn't help. They're just not letting being poor make them sad. Story 45. No, money does make people happy on its own. If you have things you want to buy with money or pay off with money, then that's a different thing. Sure, it would be nice to have millions of dollars and buy anything you want, but unless you spend it properly, money does not make someone happy directly. Also, I'm a middle-class working person typing this, not some rich snob. Story 46. No, connection makes people happy. I mean real connection, not text-mediated arguments with random strangers. And this is why I think unhappiness is so prevalent in modern countries, while much poorer places with much more simple economies are generally happier. The developed world's economy has become so complicated, so alienating as to be incomprehensible to the ordinary person. We all depend on the actions of millions of people all doing their jobs, whose faces we will never see. And likewise, for many people, the fruits of their own labor are so abstract and diffuse that no one appreciates what they do, even themselves. Story 47. Of course, money makes you happy if you're not a moron. Only S are unhappy and rich. If you're a good person with good friends, having money allows you to do more cool stuff, work less, explore your hobbies, and pay attention to your relationships. Money 100% buys happiness if you spend it properly. But you can definitely be happy with less money. Story 48. Beyond meeting needs and being able to solve problems or have enough left over for recreation, no. Why? The preponderance of evidence from almost any example one can give, and the sum totality of the psychological literature on this topic. There's also the counter-evidence of lottery winners generally having a worse quality of life post-win than pre-win. Story 49. To a certain point, and then it makes you happy. I know some people with a lot of money and almost all the relationships in their life are transactional. It totally S up the way you view people. It shows up your family and relationships. Beyond the amount of money that it takes to take care of your family reasonably well, it does more harm than good. Story 50. There's been studies that show money makes you happy up to a certain point, usually when you have enough to comfortably live and have a splash out every now and then. But after that point, more money doesn't make you any happier. So by that token, when we finally rebel against our billionaire overlords, I won't feel too bad about redistributing their wealth. Story 51. I find it wild people will say there's more to life than money. As family and love and friends are important, but imagine how much more time you could spend with your family and friends and let them live a free, liberating life free of terrible paid jobs and use it to give you the opportunity to do things that you really enjoy. Vacations, hot weather, music. Immerse yourself in the arts instead of being trapped in the rat race. Story 52. It's not money as an item, but money as a concept of not having to worry about many things. I'm not worried about being hungry or not able to do fun things or not able to replace something if it breaks. Would I be more happy with more money? If it was a big increase, then yeah, maybe. But I feel like the real difference is so far away that I might as well just stay here and not worry about it. Story 53. I'm not rich, but I don't stress over money at all. I wouldn't say money makes you happy directly, but it does eliminate a lot of stress. I remember living check to check during my first job out of college making $45K per year, and it caused a lot of stress. It's nice to not have to worry about that anymore. Story 54. It does up to a certain point. Once all of your monetary problems are solved, your needs are met, and the fun activities you want to do are unlocked, there is no more to be gained from it. There is long-term satisfaction to be gained from being able to quit an unfulfilling job and to be able to do what you truly desire. The temporary endorphin hit of getting your second billion will disappear quickly, as there is nothing to be gained from it that you don't already have. It's just a number going up, and you need to keep chasing more goals for an ever-diminishing payoff. Story 55. Not needing others, elevating your lifestyle and appearance, having access to accomplished, successful people and conversations, traveling and seeing the world more, ability to give back to society through education for underprivileged children or housing the homeless, looking and feeling great through access to wellness services, private chefs, etc. Story 56. I'm a flight attendant. It's no secret that even though the application process is crazy competitive and initial training weeds out even more candidates, we make poverty-level wages for the first few years. I once had a car and my own one-bedroom apartment in a beautiful neighborhood. I was also on the verge of a drinking problem and existentially lost. I now sleep on a mattress in a closet at my parents' place. But on the other hand, I will sometimes go months without a single drink, and though the job can be stressful in its own way, I am far happier than I've ever been in my life and can finally visualize a future for myself. You can throw money at unhappiness to numb it, but unless you put in the work and make the necessary life changes to find what truly makes you happy, the problem will always be there. Even though I now make peanuts, I'm grateful for the crazy turn my life took when I earned my wings. Story 57. It's not about the money, but the opportunity that the money provides that can make you happy. There are people with a lot of money that are miserable. That's because they chose to surround themselves with misery. Money is a tool. If not used correctly, it won't change a thing. But put it to good use, it'll make a world of difference. Story 58. My goal was to retire or medical discharge out the Army. I got that before 29. Great success, TBH. Now I focus on providing for those I care about. It allowed me to heal and grow. Sure, probably would be even worse without the VA and the benefits. I've just come to appreciate the freedom it gives me to enjoy experiences more instead of materialistic things. I still enjoy splurging, but it allows me to give back a bit by freeing up my time as well. I just try to stay positive. Nothing's perfect. I'm glad it never is. Story 59. When I was 20, I had almost 30K saved up and also had plenty money left over for my checking account. I was the most depressed I've ever been. The job I had was so draining and I truly lost a part of myself that I'm afraid I can't get back. I don't think money helps anything if you don't have enough time to truly enjoy life. Work-life balance is really messed up for most people. Now, I'm 26, and I have $700 left in my savings after multiple health-related problems/hospital visits, having to move, my car breaking down, the current economy, and other things that life throws at you. I'm much happier than I was, despite having significantly less money. Story 60. Without money, your days are focused on survival and anxiously awaiting the next ball to drop. It's soul-sucking. As someone who is in financial straits due to something out of his control, I've come to know the difference between being broke and being poor. I'm verging on the latter, and I now know what it's like when people want you to join them in various activities, and you literally have no money to do that, and so you have to make up a story about being sick or having too much work to do. I have been broke and perfectly happy in my life because I wasn't worried if money would come in. I had a job that didn't pay that great, but I could always pay my bills, so I never had the anxiety I have now. I didn't have a problem hanging out with friends because we were all single and things we all did didn't cost that much. Now, all my friends are older, partnered up or married with children, and activities are bigger, like going out to eat, attending weddings, going to museums, going out drinking. Dollar. So I have become a hermit, basically. I don't do anything and I'm just waiting for some other bill to add to the things I'm behind on. I'm falling from just being broke to pretty much verging on being poor. I mean, last year I was officially below poverty level. What really sucks is when friends want to visit me. They fly into town for business conferences and of course they want to meet up, hang out, get some dinner, drinks, etc. I do everything I can to create a semblance of normality. I try to come up with things that aren't expensive, but even while we're hanging out and they're talking about doing this and that on vacation or asking me how things are going with my business, all I can think is, please leave me alone. I need to get back to getting work done so I can pay my bills. This is not good. It's not good at all. Money absolutely can make you happy. Literally, just being able to pay my bills and debts so that I wasn't behind on anything would make me so freaking happy. I wouldn't have a care in the world finally. And then I could probably spend time on myself, getting healthier and being less of a hermit. Why am I so certain of this? Because I used to have that money. I used to work in cubicle world making pretty good money during the internet boom, but got really burnt out in 2012 when my dad died, and I realized I hated what I did. I started doing what I enjoyed, and it was pretty good until the pandemic hit. It's been super tough since being able to save just $5,000 a year would make me ecstatic. I would know that at least I'd be preparing for my retirement. Right now, knowing that I have nothing in retirement makes me realize I'm probably going to end up in state housing for seniors at some point, which is incredibly depressing. I know because I've visited folks there. People who say money doesn't buy happiness have basically never been poor. They may have been broke, but they've never been poor. Story 61. No money doesn't make you happy. It does, however, have the ability to remove enough of the suck from life, allows you to be happy if you choose to be. But some of the most miserable, hard to be around sucks all the fun out of the room. People that I've known have been very well off financially, so it's definitely not a given. Story 62. Money doesn't give you happiness. It gives you an optimistic view on being happy, but studies show lower income individuals are happier than wealthier individuals. I would guess it's because lower income individuals appreciate what they have and the family that they have and are content with their lives. Unlike wealthier individuals who think they need more to be happy, only to be sunk. Story 63. You can be a millionaire and trust me, most of them are very lonely and sad. With lots of money come big responsibility and it brings more to manage. So more headaches, problems, etc. It's a chain reaction. So the answer for me is no. It's cool to be rich, but the real ones will stand by you no matter how poor or rich you are. The real friends don't give a about what you own. They give a about how you are going. Story 64. Money would certainly make me happy. Happiness to me means being content and comfortable, not worrying that I can't pay my rent, not worrying that the $3,000 bill to fix my car will be more than I can afford. If I don't have to worry about bills or emergency payments, I'm happy. So yes, money is the answer to my problems and my contentedness. I don't need to be rich to be happy, but I need to be comfortable. Story 65, interesting question. Over the decades, I have traveled to far-off places where poverty was commonplace and was amazed at number of folks who were happy, smiling, laughing, and helping others. By contrast, in their community, I would be considered rich beyond measure, yet they were happy, and I was not. It took time for me to grasp why. In the end, I realized that happiness is a state of mind and is not defined by the number of material possessions. If anything, those things that I possessed actually possessed me, that I could not move forward in life trying to hold on to them. Slowly, I began to realize the reality of my world as I saw it. Today, I have many things, but they are not cherished or valued above all else. I give them away to others who need them or those who can use them to benefit from them. Not only material possessions, but my time as well, like answering questions on Reddit, which as you get older becomes more valuable. Cheers. Story 66. Money can't buy happiness, but it can remove or alleviate a lot of the things that make people unhappy. For example, stuck in dead-end job, can't afford rent, lots of debt, etc. Money will also give you the opportunity to do and experience things that could improve your day, week, or month. So, long story short, it won't cure depression, but it'll fix any financial woes, and that will make some people happier. Story 67. It will help relieve a lot of stress and anxiety for me. With inflation and age equal signs some medical needs, I feel my next savings are slowly dwindling rather than me being able to save up. I have a great job, and my coworker friends have wonderful jobs with great titles, managers, directors, but we don't own homes. We rent and still live paycheck to paycheck. If I even get a small windfall of $7K that I can stretch for 1-2 years with bills, groceries, and emergency funds. Story 68. There are multiple studies to this topic, and there is a money range where you can buy happiness. But after a certain amount of money, you start to get new problems related to that money. And so you are losing happiness again. But overall, gives money the freedom to do what you want. And that feels much better than being restricted and have to work all day. Story 69. Money itself doesn't make you happy. Just like DiCaprio said on Wolf of Wall Street, they're fun coupons. I'm well off for my age from being cheap and not drinking or smoking cigarettes, and I'm just as happy with a bunch of money as I was with little. Being stress-free with no kids or bad relationship and having a peace of mind is more worth it to me. Story 70. It's not the money itself, it's the life and security you can have with it. It's a lot easier to live your most fulfilling life if you're comfortable financially. When you're just struggling to survive, that consumes your whole life. You work and sleep and try to fit in the rest of your life in just a few hours a day. It's essentially slavery, not in the brutal way that people have been directly enslaved, but you are forced to trade your life just to keep living. People aren't meant to live this way. Story 71, yes, I grew up broke. Most of the time, my mom struggled to get food on the table. She taught me to look at price tags, to only get needs and not wants. I'm now trying to break those habits, as I now view myself as unworthy of having money spent on me. I can't even get myself to buy new clothes. BC, they cost so much, and I've only known hand-me-downs and Goodwill. TBH, it's depressing ASF to live only getting needs and not wants. If I had iMillionaire's funds, almost all my worries would be gone. BC, then maybe I wouldn't blame my dinner for being the reason I can't get something I wanted. Story 72. Yes, it's not the only thing, and it doesn't overcome truly large, but the biggest weight in my shoulders for most of my life has been trying to budget and make sure I can pay the bills. Now that I know I can without issue, albeit not like we're rolling in it, a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. We still have to budget and be careful, but I'm not counting pennies to see if I need to put back groceries this week, and that makes a world of difference. Story 73. Money doesn't buy happiness, but you know what it does do? Relieve stress. The stress of worrying about bills. The stress of worrying about how to pay to maintain your car because it's the only way to get to work. The stress of worrying about what happens if you get hurt or ill. And when you remove stress, you have the chance to be really happy. Story 74. Because it lets you afford things that are quality of life as well as giving you access to treatments, medications, and specialists. I'd be able to buy a house and a proper bed to be able to sleep well, to build a catwalk jungle for my cat to be more happy and active. I'd be able to hire a personal trainer to keep me healthy and motivated. I'd have the free time to spend being healthy and happy doing hobbies. I'd be able to buy things to enhance my hobby experience with, and thus my happiness. I'd be able to go to a dentist and fix my teeth and smile happily. I'd be able to travel to visit my family more often. I'd be able to buy my friends gifts to make them happy. That's just a tiny bit, but money is needed for all that. Story 75. There is a propensity for money to make you happier index. Basically, after a certain amount, around 200K, your propensity for your happiness to increase with more money greatly declines. For example, you might buy a more expensive wine or eat at better restaurants, but it doesn't mean the experience will be that much happier. The opposite is also true, though. The more you are on struggle street, the harder it is to maintain happy contentment. Money provides a security and a degree freedom to do things that make you happier.